comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. Okay. So, as always, with Trump in the picture, lots of good things are happening. And, there's this interview going around with Zelensky. Zelensky, when this proxy war against Russia began, Zelensky couldn't speak a lick of English, couldn't speak a word of English, really. And I saw this interview with him. He speaks English now. That's how long this garbage has been going on. I guess he's been using the quadrillion dollars that we've been sending to Ukraine to get an English tutor, because he speaks English now with a very strange accent. That Ukrainian accent sounds kind of like, they sound like vampires. Don't they? Really deep voice. Well, anyway, Zelensky is holding on to this. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, at 6 p.m. Eastern, about 30 minutes from now, my podcast is going to go live right here on this channel. So, and it'll have a live chat. So make sure you join that, because I cover a lot of important stuff. Okay, a lot of big things that are going on that I cover in the podcast that I'm not going to talk about here. Zelensky is holding on to this fantasy that Europe is going to join him, okay? That if the United States pulls out, that Europe is going to continue to back this insane war. And, here's the deal, okay? I talked a little bit about this morning on my live stream early this morning. If you weren't there, this is important stuff. Europe and Russia have no military. The only military presence that's significant in all of Europe is the United States. And if it's not our people directly, it's soldiers that are funded by, or militaries that are funded by the United States. NATO is the United States, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you have seen these stories over the last few weeks. Russia are not using Russian soldiers all that much in their war against Ukraine. They have North Korean soldiers fighting for Russia. North Korean soldiers are fighting for Russia. That's not a good sign. In the Second World War, this is a little known thing. Some people know about it. It's not talked about a lot. But the Russian army was not doing well before the Normandy invasion, because Russia was on one side. We were all over the place. They had, in Normandy, U.S. Troops fought against Koreans at Normandy. They had Koreans fighting for the Nazis. Now, the Koreans are like the soldiers of last resort. When a country is strapped and they're low on manpower and they're having problems, I guess they go to Korea. But North Korean soldiers are fighting for Russia against Ukraine, because Russia does not really have much of a military. Russia has not had much of a military since the Second World War, okay? All the Cold War, it was all lies. All lies. Their military was, the Soviet Union's military was as real as this North Korean parades we see all the time. So Russia, this idea that if the U.S. pulls out of NATO or pulls out of Ukraine, that Putin's going to take over Europe. If he had an army, he would not be using North Korean soldiers to fight in Ukraine. That's how thin their military is, okay? So get that nonsense out of your mind. It's all lies and propaganda. I was talking this morning about England, and this this just blew me away. If you saw my stream earlier this morning, you heard me talking about this. England is a typical, the countries of Europe have very small, their militaries are basically non-existent. And the reason is because the United States has been protecting, some say Russia's training. The people that are saying Russia's training don't know what they're talking about. If Russia would not have North Korean soldiers, North Koreans are not very healthy. They had a massive famine. The average height of a North Korean is how much shorter than a South Korean? Give me a break. Those are the soldiers of last resort, okay? Russia, it's a paper tiger. They're no threat. They're no threat. Now, if they want to start using their nukes, whatever they have left, maybe, but they are no threat. That's why they're using North Korean soldiers. So anybody who tells you that Russia is a military threat, they're either lying or they don't know what they're talking about. They're just stupid, uninformed people. So don't believe any of this BS that Russia's going to march through Europe, okay? The other thing, this was about earlier, the armies of Europe are non-existent. They are very, very tiny. They seem tough because of us, okay? They're like Canada, Europe's on our coattails. And I found out yesterday, just coincidentally, there's a YouTube channel I watch called, let me get the name of it real quick. Hold on, make sure I want to get the right name because I want to give this guy publicity. I want to make sure I get his channel right. Mark Felton Productions, I believe it's called. Mark Felton Productions, okay, on YouTube. He's a British historian, okay? He's a British historian. He does incredible historical documentaries on YouTube, mostly about World War II. Never gives an opinion, never gets political. And he dropped a video yesterday that blew my mind. Here's the title: The Navy with More Admirals Than Warships. The British Navy, which was once I've watched Mark Felton for a long, long time on YouTube. The British Navy was like their whole thing, right? Oh, the British Navy. The British Navy has 62 ships in it. Of the 62 ships in the British Navy, only 20 are warships. The other ones are freighters, not armed, whatever, tankers, whatever, So the British Navy only has 20 warships worldwide. 20 warships, but they have 40 admirals. I couldn't believe it. 40 admirals and only 20 warships. They have 2 admirals per warship. So what does that tell you? That NATO is how can they have 40 admirals with only 20 ships? Because NATO, and NATO is us. We're paying for all that. Okay? So NATO is to the European countries what USAID is to the crooks in this country. Does that make sense to you? Okay? So, but our ships are in first-class condition. A lot of them are new. They only have a couple submarines. I mean, it's insane. That includes their submarines. So Europe couldn't help Ukraine if they wanted to. They have no military. Russia is so weak, they're using North Koreans to fight for them. Okay? And Zelensky and his henchmen have socked away all that money. They're like Arafat and the PLO. They got money in banks all over the world. In fact, Trump, they should do a search for where Zelensky and his henchmen have their money stashed and seize it because it's ours. Whatever bank accounts, we should seize it like they're drug dealers. We're financing the whole world. That's right. So don't let anyone tell you that Europe's going to break out in war if we pull out of Ukraine. If they do, screw them. Who cares, right? They've been starting these wars anyway, but they have no military. All of them are that way. So no, there's not. They don't have a military to fight. Can I post a video of North Koreans act? No, there's no video of anybody actively fighting in Ukraine. These are things that have been reported from inside the Ukraine. This has been widely reported. You can look it up. If you read the news and follow the news, you get all this information. Oh, by the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, all right? And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video and sharing all my videos when you watch them, if you don't mind. So this is there's a lot of panic going on right now in the media, which is an arm of the deep state and the military-industrial complex. That not only is Trump ending this fake war with Ukraine and Russia, it's not fake because people are dying, but BS war that they started to make money. But the J.D. Vance speech yesterday in Munich is about the United States pulling out of NATO. If the United States pulled out of NATO, they don't have a military to fight with over there amongst themselves, even if they wanted to. And if they do, let them do it. I'm tired of helping. Let me ask you, if Putin took Ukraine and Europe collapsed, would you care? He may or well may leave NATO. Why should What J.D. Vance said yesterday was um, an approved speech by Trump. It was a policy speech. And what he said a lot of things to them, but basically to sum up what J.D. Vance said, he says, why do we have an alliance? What do we have in common anymore? What are we fighting together for? What do we stand for as a group of allies? And President Trump even talked, we stood up in 2 world wars against fascism, against Germany. After that, we were standing up against communism, against the Soviet Union. But now, you're clamping down on free speech, you're doing this, you're doing that. We don't have a shared vision anymore. Why are we even allies? Right? That's it. No, they've captured North Koreans. They have in Ukraine. They have captured North Korean soldiers that are POWs, held by Ukraine. So no, that's very true. So there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of fear mongering that they're trying. The media can't get anything off the ground. First off, don't believe anything that comes out of the media. Okay, don't believe anything that comes out of them. What JD said was perfection. Perfection. Everything he said was spot on, right on, and correct. It needed to be said. This is not the old days. We would not be isolated. Europe is just, trouble. What good comes out of Europe, really? The Holocaust, the Inquisition, 2 world wars, this crap, Bosnia. Look at the war in Iraq, right? Not the Gulf War, but the George Bush. That was Europe, right? British intelligence put out that bullshit report that there were weapons of mass destruction, and the whole war that went on for 20 years over that crap. What good has come out of Europe? The only thing positive that Europe has ever done was settled America, so we have the United States. That's it. Right? They've been poisoned all these years. So enough of this crap. Yeah. When I saw this story about the British Navy with 40 admirals and 20 ships, that's it. And they're like the strongest of the European nations. They got nothing. Nothing. I mean, now, do you think Putin would be using North Korean troops and putzing around with Ukraine if he had a strong military? Of course not. That's right, MAGA. That's right. That's right, no doubt about that. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 5:40 p.m.
Okay, so in 20 minutes, my podcast is going to go live here on the YouTube channel. So make sure you tune into it because I cover a lot of very important stuff. We don't need anything from Europe. Europe is a tourist trap. That's about it. That's about it. It's been a long time since Europe's been important, right? They got us in the world wars, all this crap. It's all them. Even the problems in the Middle East really are Europe's fault because they set up all these fake countries, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. They put all these fake royal families in charge of things that aren't recognized, So a lot of what's going on in Europe today, I'm sorry, in the Middle East today is all because of Europe. History comes out of everywhere. But today, they're nothing but a problem. They're basically Europe. They're troublemakers and welfare queens off the United States. That's it. Oh, yeah, the hockey game was awesome. They have nothing to offer us now. Nothing. Oh, I support Israel. But don't you? Yeah, Canada. I love that President Trump's keeps calling him Governor Trudeau. Trudeau is the only person that has a Trump nickname in the second term, isn't he? Governor Trudeau. Yeah, I was watching some of the local news in D.C. and they're interviewing laid off federal workers. No one has sympathy for these federal workers, and they all do these interviews. Oh, we're so important. We're doing the federal workers are very arrogant. They're like in a cult, and they think that they have answered President Kennedy's call to service. Right? Ask not what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. They think they've all answered that call. No. Well, all these things happen because of Biden. You know, Biden just caused all this destruction in the world. Well, yesterday that story came out on X of all the sales on Zillow, and then they came out with a fact check and said it wasn't true. And then I just read a story earlier today that said it is true. It was in a few of the major, there's other real estate things other than Zillow, and there's a huge sale going on in DC because the USAID money got cut off. A lot of people didn't get their USAID checks this month. They're never coming again. They're afraid they're going to lose their house. Russia is a paper tiger. They are a paper tiger. When is the last time Russia has had a successful major military move? Crimea doesn't count because they wanted to be part of Russia. So that was, they wanted to join Russia. What, the 50s, maybe the 60s? They got whooped in Afghanistan. They got whooped everywhere. They lost the Cold War. Other than the Second World War, Russia, since then, they've been a paper tiger. They really have. They can still launch ICBMs. Are you sure about that? How, look at the rockets they use to go into space. Those Soyuz. They're using rockets from like the 70s and 80s still to go into space, while we have SpaceX with Elon Musk. Don't be so sure that their ICBMs can go anywhere. I would not be so sure about that. I would not be sure about that. They are, just like the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was bankrupt. And most of what we saw with their military and parades was just like the North Korean parades, was all fake. I don't think they're a threat now. If they had a strong military, Putin would have taken all of Ukraine. He would have taken it by now. He would have taken it long ago before Trump came in. Maybe a bear cub, as strong as a bear cub, maybe. No, it was always lies. It was military-industrial complex propaganda to make us afraid of Russia. Russia was a third world, the Soviet Union was a third world country. Most of it still is. That's the reality. Everybody knows this. It's not, Trump calls it the beast. Deanna, he calls it the beast. So if Trump calls it the beast, we can call it the beast. Believe me, you don't think if Putin could have had the military as strong as people want you to believe, that he could take over all of Europe, don't you think he would have taken Ukraine in the last couple of years? If he had taken Ukraine before Trump came in, he'd have it. Why did Putin not overtake Ukraine? It is a third world country. It is. Parts of it aren't, but it mostly is. MAGA is the only option, that's right. Mm-hmm. A money grab? Not for him. Where was the money grab for Putin? It was a money grab for these crooks in Washington. The German military is no, you can't. No, that's like no, they're not. Those are all lies. All these European countries, they spend next to nothing on their military. They don't pay their NATO dues. They pay next to nothing on their own military because they don't have to. Because we're defending them. Military stuff's expensive. They'd rather steal the money for themselves. The leaders. Zelensky says he'll not allow Trump to take the earth. What's he going to do? Zelensky's going to take on Trump. We are funding everything in Ukraine. We pay for their entire government. We pay for their, not just the military. We pay for their schools. We pay for their trash cleanup. We pay for their power plants. We pay their government bureaucrats. We pay their version of Social Security, their pension for their, we pay that. They're not even funding themselves, Ukraine. We are paying for everything. So Zelensky can do these interviews and sound all butch and everything, but nope. Zelensky's irrelevant, yeah. See, Zelensky's worried because the money's going to stop coming, and once the war's over, he's got to have an election. He's a dictator right now. He's stayed in office past his term. How can we be fighting for democracy when the president of the country's term is up and he's still president with no election? That doesn't sound like freedom we're fighting for from my viewpoint. Yeah, we pay for Ukraine, we pay for Canada, most of Europe, that's right. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's definitely a dictator. And he's in a panic. And he's got a lot of people he's got to answer to. You know, the war ends, they're going to be pissed at him. Big time. I would think that Trump could seize the money that Zelensky and all the Ukrainian leaders have stolen. Do you think the United States knows the banks they have? They got to have them in like Switzerland, Caymans, places like that. You don't think we could seize that? Of course we could. They should seize the money. Take it back. It's theft from the United States government. They shouldn't have any money in foreign bank accounts. Leaving the EU, we're not in the EU. If he owns any property, I know I've seen the rumors and the stories about yachts and stuff. If any of that's true, that should be seized as well. Absolutely. He should have nothing. Anything he has, I mean, we're even paying his presidential salary. We're paying for his generals. We're paying for everything. They're paying for nothing. Nothing. Why are we paying for everything? Trump will get it back with interest. Yeah, Brexit made England even worse. No, England's fallen. England has been conquered, okay? It's over. If you're in England, your country has fallen. The UK has been conquered. That's it. Courtesy of the EU. By the time Brexit came in, it was too late. You know, the problem in England that you guys had is you've got no free speech. That's it. You got no free speech. Tommy Robinson said they put people in jail who speak up. I have no interest in visiting England, no. No, zero. But it's fallen. What was that country? I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. Was it Ireland or Scotland? Where this mother, her daughter's in school. It was either Ireland or Scotland. And everyone in the class but her daughter was Muslim. It was either Ireland or Scotland. Anybody remember which country it was? I'd forgotten. I mean, come on. Every student was Muslim except her daughter. It's the whole, all of the UK's fallen. Ireland, yeah. That's crazy. Completely insane. Welcome, everyone. Make sure that you subscribe, all right? And click the notification bell. Now, my podcast is going to go live in 8 minutes. And the thumbnail, it's Elon baby drama. But I talk about a lot more than just that. I cover a lot of important things in that podcast. And it's going to be live in, I'm counting down now, in 8 minutes. Live in 8 minutes, so don't miss it. I cover a lot of things, none of which I've gotten into here. Meatloaf sounds good for dinner, absolutely. Disney has fallen to Trump, I don't know. Disney, now they canceled a couple of minor DEI things. Don't trust Disney. Don't trust Disney. They're still woke as ever. Yep. No, Europe is beyond help. How can you worry about, England's already been overrun by all the illegals from the Middle East, from North Africa. Would you rather, let me ask you, would you rather Europe be overrun by the people that have overrun it now? The Muslim world have taken over Europe, and England's already collapsed. France, would you rather the Muslims control, Europe like they do now, or Putin? Who would you rather overrun Europe? Have the Muslims that are running it now, have overrun it now, or Putin? Which would be the better? Not that Putin could take over Europe when he's got to use North Korean soldiers. Exactly. Exactly. Who cares about Europe? Exactly. Not me. Yeah. But Putin couldn't take over Europe if he wanted to. But, the reason they've been overrun by all the illegals in Europe is because they get all this free crap. Everyone's on the dole. They're able to keep people on the dole because we're funding so much of Europe. So if we stop funding Europe, how are they going to support all these migrants that they have on the dole over there? Any ideas? 6 minutes until the podcast starts, guys. 6 minutes. I don't know who's fascist. Exactly. Who cares about Europe? Yeah, look, that's why JD's talking about leaving NATO. The Middle East, Trump's got that great plan of the U.S. taking over Gaza. That's as awesome. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah. Trump's got everything under control. Yeah, we got to leave NATO. Sketchbook by the Sea, that's my wife, Kathy. I did not go to Mar-a-Lago, no. My friend was at Mar-a-Lago yesterday, and the security is even heavier than the last time I was up there. The security is huge. Yeah, globalism equals America pays for everything. That's right. It's not our concern. And that's how most people, I think, in this country feel. How can you be worried about Ukraine and the rest of Europe with all the problems we have in this country? The Riviera of the Middle East? Yeah, because it's all destroyed. It's got to be bulldozed. The rubble's got to be taken. It's got to be rebuilt. So what are you going to rebuild? You're going to rebuild what they have, or are you going to let Trump and his guys develop it? Kash Patel will be confirmed. He's already confirmed. It's just a formality. Now, make sure you subscribe, guys, okay? Now, my podcast is going to be live right here on the channel in like 3.5 minutes. And it's up there now. It's a live premiere, so there's a chat. a live chat. So when I shut this stream down, I'm going to hop over to the chat on my podcast. So jump over there, and it's got Elon in the thumbnail. Elon baby drama is the thumbnail. But I talk about a lot of things other than that. But I don't know. Do you guys believe the story that this is Elon's baby? Something's very fishy about that. Very fishy. Yeah, no, there's definitely something stinks about that. She's a strange woman. Chippy, you don't seem to care about much. Well, they're trying to smear Elon. They want Elon out. Really, she has another kid with somebody else out of wedlock. Oh my goodness! Wow. Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is a Florida Catholic shirt. This is, of course, Florida, and it's made out of a rosary, if you're wondering. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to hop over to the chat on the podcast. So jump over there. I'm going to end this stream and go over there. Thanks for watching. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the other chat in just a few seconds, all right? Take care.